get this idea, and we've had it, I grew up with it, that our government cares about us. What makes you think that these men and women care about you? They are doing the bare minimum necessary to survive in their political jobs, and then some of them don't care if they survive or not. No, so why is that? When you see that the Liberals, let's say Gordon Campbell, makes a decision that is obviously going to result in him not being elected again, there must be some motivation for sabotaging your own career. No one's going to vote for this man again. He knows that. He makes $183,000 a year, so you think, as a premier. You really think that this man who's hiring people and appointing them for $1 million salary to run a railroad with no trains is making $183,000? If that was the case, he would just take that job. I'll just be the guy running the trains. I'll take $1 million, thanks. These men, through subsequent rewards in the business world for a job well done on behalf of the banks, make hundreds of millions of dollars in the future through business connections and resource companies, private power companies, run a water companies. We get a distracting headline in a paper that says Gordon Campbell's trip to the Bilderberg conference cost BC taxpayers $6,000. Like you're supposed to get mad about how much money you spent for him to go there without focusing on why he went there. No one's done a show or an article about what was discussed while he goes there because they don't know why he went there. And they're not the final deciders either, but what you have is 125 politicians, up-and-coming future leaders, bankers, defense contractors, heads of business, industry, and state that meet behind closed doors every year and decide global policy. So your media experts will come on Monday and say, well, they don't decide. You're not there. Some of them are. These men in media don't know what they're talking about. They give an announcement that the banks, you have to have, 6% reserves. And then they'll say the market rallied because of it. They don't even understand what that means, that they have 6% reserves. Let me tell you, when a bank lends out money, it's allowed to lend out through these fictitious loans with this digital capital 10 times more money than they have in holding. So if I deposit $1,000 into the bank now has that $1,000 of real money. Now they're allowed to lend out 10 times that amount of money because the reserve holding in that scenario is 10%. They've lowered it now to 6 or 7%. And in BC it's 13 or 14%, or in Canada that the banks have. But it should be 100%. Banks should only be lending out money that they actually have. We have banks lending out 10 times more money than they have, and that money that they lent out gets added to our money supply, which gets its value off the existing money, and it deletes the value of the currency, and you end up in economic collapse. This is simple math. There's no avoiding it. It's a pyramid scheme run by bankers. And the politicians do what the banks say, or they would stand up like I am right now and say, you don't have a politician in this country that's telling you the truth. There's 308 members of parliament in the Canadian government. Not one of them has told you about this Ponzi scheme. You got Jack Layton, who tries to be hero of the people, saying, well, we got to do something about the banks because they have outrageous ATM fees. We're talking about $1 here or there. I'll pay the $1. Can I get the bank to lend me money that they actually have? They're creating money out of thin air, money that they don't have. You go into a bank, if we all went into the bank, they don't have our money. Three 3% of our nation's money supply is cash. The rest is digital. So if the banks say, well, we're closed, or we don't have it, or we're just turning the computers off, there's a cyber attack, that's it. There's no money. Then there's no food. And one from the United States, and it applies to us here, because we are on the verge of a collapse of our civilization. This is Robert Hemphill from the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank. The Federal Reserve is a private bank that prints the United States money. We are completely dependent on the commercial banks. Think about this. Someone has to borrow every dollar we have in circulation, cash or credit. If the banks create ample synthetic money, we are prosperous. If not, we starve. We are absolutely without a permanent money system. It is the most important subject intelligent persons can investigate and reflect upon. It is so important that our present civilization may collapse unless it becomes widely understood and the defects remedied very soon. This is the most important issue. Under our current economic and political system, this is the only issue that matters. Our money supply is created and issued privately, and it is digital, and if they turn off the machines, it's over. You don't have any money.